Hi folks, and welcome to this getting started video for the game Dragon's Lair 3D Return to the Lair, or as it's known in Europe as Dragon's Lair 3D Special Edition. Now, I'm making this video because I've had trouble trying to get the game running in Windows 10, and after a bit of research managed to get it figured out, and so I thought I'd do a video to show you how to do that. Now, this game was developed by Dragonstone Software and published by Ubisoft in 2002 and 2003. Now, I've owned it since that original release and have played it on and off over the years, only ever getting about a quarter of the way through before running out of steam and moving on to other games. But now I've decided to do a full Let's Play of the game in glorious HD and 60 frames per second, from start to finish and including all treasures and all secrets. Why? Well, because I love the Dragon's Lair franchise, but also because Dragon's Lair 3D is actually quite fun to play, and it's a decent homage to the original Dragon's Lair arcade game. Yes, it got average to mixed reviews when it was first released, and the controls were a bit awkward, but what the hell, I love Dragon's Lair. But getting back to the purpose of this video, well, this video is aimed at those who already own a PC CD-ROM copy of the game Dragon's Lair 3D, and that you want to install and play this under Windows 10. So what I'll cover is the installation from the CD. I'll go through how to actually get the game running, because by default it will not run after initial installation on Windows 10. And I'll also show you my configuration settings and joystick control settings in the hope that they maybe give you a good starting point for setting up your system. So to start the initial installation of Dragon's Lair 3D, first of all put the disk number 1 into your disk drive on your computer, and if the auto run kicks off, then you should be presented with a menu and an install option. If this doesn't happen, then you'll need to go into File Explorer as I'm showing here, navigate to your disk drive, and in my case it's drive E, and then find the auto run application and double click on that there. Now when the user account control dialog box pops up, just click on the yes button. Now the Dragon's Lair 3D menu comes up, and then you just click on the install option. I'll just wait a few moments for this to kick off. And then we'll just run through the installation routine for the game. And I'm going to select the default options throughout this process. So I'm just going to click on the next button here, say yes to the license agreement. I'm going to accept the default installation folder, so next there. And when it comes to selection of either a full or minimal installation, please always use the full installation. That's fairly critical for the method I'll be using to show you how to get the game running under Windows 10. So we're going to click on the next button there, next there, again next, and then the installation kicks off. So this is a fairly time-consuming process, so I'm just going to pause the video here, and I'll be back with you again in a moment. So when the installation routine for disk 1 has finished, it will prompt you to insert disk 2. So I'll just do that right now, and I'll be back again in a moment. So that's it, I've removed disk 1, I've inserted disk 2. Just going to give the computer a moment to recognize the disk, and then I'm going to click on the OK button. Now when this error message comes up, just click on continue, and now that error message will actually appear quite a few times at the end of the installation routine, and every time you just need to click on continue. It doesn't affect the installation of the game, and the game runs fine afterwards. So again, this is a fairly lengthy process for this second half of the installation routine, so I'll just pause here and I'll be back again with you in a moment. So that's the installation routine coming to an end. Yes, I do want an icon for the game on my desktop, so yes to that option there. Again, just click on continue when the error message comes up. Registration is a moot point now, so cancel on that and never register. The game's too old to register now. And then again, at the error message, just click on continue. No, I do not want to view the README file. I'm going to click on continue on the error message again. I'm going to close that dialog box and then click on the continue button once more. And then I can just now quit this menu to finalize the installation, and one final time click on continue on the error message. And that's the game installed. So what I'll now show you in the next section is what happens when you try and run the game immediately after this initial installation. So now let's just try and run the game now that we've completed the initial install. So we're going to double click on the Dragon's Lair icon there, and we're going to click yes at the user account control dialog box. And then we'll get the Dragon's Lair 3D configuration utility will come up. And I'll just show you my settings on this later in the video. But for now, we're just going to click on the play button. And what you can see is nothing appears to happen. The game doesn't run. Now, the root cause of this can be found by going to the event viewer. I'll just wait for that to populate. Now if we go into the Windows logs and system, and if we look at the latest error there under the Service Control Manager, it says here that the sec.drv service failed to start due to the following error. This driver has been blocked from loading. And this is actually the root cause of why Dragon's Lair 3D will not run after this initial installation. So in the next section, I'll just run through the reasons behind this and the options that you have to bypass this problem. So the root cause of the issue is that Dragon's Lair 3D uses a DRM technology called SafeDisk, and SafeDisk relies on the sec.drv.sys driver being functional and active in your version of Windows. Now, as it says here, and this was reported fairly widely on the internet, and this is on howtogeek.com, that Microsoft made headlines when it stripped support for SafeDisk and a related technology called SecureROM from Windows 10. And also, further security updates to Windows Vista, 7, 8 and 8.1 have also removed support from these DRM schemes from older versions of Windows. Now Microsoft did this for a very valid reason, is that these technologies created security loopholes in Windows, and they had in the past been exploited by hackers and viruses to enable remote users to take full control of your computer without your knowledge. So Microsoft have fairly sensibly eliminated these technologies from being embedded in Windows. But it does mean that games that use this technology, and that was tended to be from the period around 2003 to 2008, that those games will not run. And if we now go to another website, and I'll put the links to both of these websites in the video description below, and this is a windowsreport.com website, they actually provide you with a kind of fairly good list of what options you have to get your game running. Now, solution one they have here is to check the developer's website for the latest patches. Now, unfortunately, Dragon's Lair 3D, being from the 2002-2003 era, is fairly old. It was developed by Dragonstone Software, who unfortunately no longer exist. It was published by Ubisoft, and Ubisoft no longer provides support for the game, and they certainly haven't provided a patch to get the game working under Windows 10 and the Windows versions without the SafeDisk technology. So this solution one is not an option, unfortunately. The second solution is to use a dual boot, but that would mean you'd have to actually install Windows XP or an earlier version of Windows on your dual boot machine. And if you're already doing that for other reasons, that's all well and good. But if you're doing it just to run the game, that's a fairly significant change to your computer that you're going to have to make just to get one game running. And there is a much simpler solution, so I don't recommend that as an option. The third one is to use a virtual machine. And that, again, that's a similar thing. You would run a virtual machine to run Windows XP or earlier. And again, that's a significant change to your system if you don't need it for anything other than just playing this game. So again, I don't recommend it just for playing Dragon's Lair 3D. Now, if we move further down this screen, there are a couple of other options. Now, solution 4 is to buy a digital version of the game. Unfortunately, Dragon's Lair 3D it has not been put up for sale by Steam or GOG, so it's not currently available digitally. So you can only play this game if you own the original discs. So this is not an option. Now the final solution that Windows Report provides here is to add safe disks back into Windows, and you can do that manually using the method that they give here for Windows 10 or in the howtogeek.com. They provide a link to instructions that Microsoft provide to enable safe disk and the secdrv.sys driver back under Windows Vista 7, 8 or 8.1. However, this does mean that the very reason Microsoft took it out for security reasons that you will be bypassing that. And as it states quite clearly here, this can cause system instability and potential security issues. And again, I really don't recommend this as an option. Now, one other solution is to actually use a cracked no CD version of the game. Now, fortunately, this does exist. And I've been using this for quite some time now, and I can report that the file from this website actually works a treat, that it contains no viruses and it bypasses the safe disk technology perfectly. So this is actually the method I would recommend. This eliminates the need to make any changes to your Windows system. All you need to do is download this cracked no CD executable file and to place this file in the appropriate location, and I'll show you how to do that in the very next section. So this is the website where I managed to obtain the no CD crack for Dragon's Lair 3D, and this is just the core executable for the game that's been cracked. So this isn't providing anybody with an illegal copy of the entire game. This is purely just a crack that will work for those who own the original CDs and have completed a full installation of the game, that you then will be able to replace the core game executable with the cracked executable located on this website. So I'll provide the link to this website in the video description below, and you then want to go to this link here, which is the Dragon's Lair 3D version 1 English no CD fix executable. If you're playing a language other than English, either German or Spanish, then you select one of the other ones listed here. So clicking on that link takes us to the bottom of the page, and it's this one here at the very bottom, the one by Gimps RUS. Now ordinarily you would click on this symbol here and you'll be presented with another big page advert, and you'll then go through another step before you'll finally be presented with a download link for the game. Hopefully, to bypass that for you though, I'll provide a link in the video description below that should take you straight to the final website download links, as opposed to having run through the various adverts. Okay, so hopefully you'll have got through to this point here, and as I say, I'll be providing this full link here in the video description below, so hopefully using that you'll be able to come straight to this point here, and then you just can choose one of these links to download a file. So go ahead and download a file, and I'll show you what to do next right now. So once you've downloaded the file, and you should now have this GRU DL3D CD zip file, is you want to extract that file first of all. I'm just going to extract that to here. And then you'll have this Dragon's Lair 3D executable, and this is the replacement executable for the game. This is the no CD crack. So we're going to copy that file by right-clicking on it and doing copy. And then we're going to go to the game's installation folder. Now, assuming you chose the default, that will be the C drive, Program Files, x86, Ubisoft, Dragonstone, Dragon's Lair 3D, and then bin for binary. And so in here you can see the original Dragon's Lair 3D application file. And so we're just actually going to rename that, and I'm just going to call that orig at the end for original. And then we can paste in by right clicking and then selecting paste the no CD cracked application file. And that's it. So we can now go ahead and retest the game. But before we do that, I'll show you my game settings, and I'll then show you how the game works. Great, so now we're ready to test the no CD crack. And so I'm going to double click on the Dragon's Lair 3D icon here to start the game. Yes, at the user account control dialog box piece. And now I'll just show you the settings that I apply when I'm playing this game. So under video, I actually select the highest resolution on my desktop is currently set at 2560 by 1440. And I'm choosing the highest color depth, which is 32-bit. But obviously choose the setting that's appropriate for your monitor and desktop. Under audio, I have a surround sound system, and I actually have a Creative Labs sound card. So I want the EAX surround sound technology to be working. I've got the audio quality set to high, and I leave the reverb level at default. And under advanced, I turn on the hardware anti-aliasing. I force the character level of detail to high as opposed to auto, so I just want to make sure that it is high. And then I leave these 4 settings all on to maximize the graphical quality. So Corona's on, high quality textures, motion blur effect, and dynamic shadows. So they're the settings that I tend to use, but obviously adjust those that suit your system. So now let's try playing the game and see if the no CD crack works. So excellent, that's the game loading up, no problem at all. So I'm just going to escape through these intro videos because I want to take you to the main game menu. Now in here, I just want to show you the in-game options that I have set up to hopefully give you a starting point for setting your options up. So I'm going to left click on there. Now the first item is the camera speed. Now I believe the default for this is somewhere around the midpoint. I actually found the camera to be way too sensitive at that level, and so have reduced it to its minimum. It's still a tad too sensitive, but the game's perfectly playable with it down at its minimum level. Certainly on my system that's the case. For invert camera and console camera, I leave those at their defaults of no and off. Now under sound options, we have the reverb level, the music volume, effects volume, ambient sound volume, hint voice, and hint subtitles. I just leave these all at their defaults, but obviously you can change these to suit yourself. Now under control options, there are 2 sets of configurable controls in here. The first is the primary set, which is initially set up for the keyboard and mouse. And there's the alternate set, where it is set up for using a joypad. Now you can reassign any one of these by just left clicking on a cell and then either pressing the R key. I've reassigned camera up to the R key on my keyboard. I'm just going to left click on that again and press I to revert it back to its default. I personally use a joypad for playing the game. I use an Xbox 360 USB controller for playing the game. And I'm just going to show you the settings that I have mapped for using that particular joypad. Now I've set this up to be more or less the same as is the default for using a joypad for the Xbox version of Dragon's Lair 3D. So for forward, back, left and right, I'm using the left stick. Camera up, down, left and right, I'm using the right stick. The use attack is the blue X button. Jump is the green A button. Crouch is the right bumper button. Now I'll just scroll down to get the rest. Auto target is the Y yellow button. Block is the red B button. Equip and walk are the keyboard defaults. Run is the left bumper button. Sword is the back button. Crossbow is the start button. I'll scroll down for the rest here. And then the next arrow and previous arrow, I'm using the up and down on the D-pad. And the next essence and previous essence, I'm using the left and right on the D-pad. So they're the settings that I'm using, but obviously you can change those to whatever suits you. Okay, so the last item here is the aspect ratio. This is a slightly irritating aspect of the game in that if you're using a widescreen, as I suspect 99.9% of you are, every single time you play the game, you'll need to come into options and left click on this to change it from 4:3 to 16 by 9 for widescreen. The game doesn't remember this setting when you quit it, so you have to change this back to widescreen every single time you start the game. So that's it. So let's exit there and just quickly start the game, and I'll just show you that it's working with this no CD crack version of the game. So this is the intro video, so I'm just going to skip that there. Skip that. And I'll just skip this as well. I just really want to show you that it is working when you're actually playing the game itself. So there we go. That's the game running fine. So if you like this video, please like below and subscribe. As I said at the beginning of the video, I will be doing a full Let's Play for Dragon's Lair 3D. That'll be coming up very soon, and this will be from start to finish with all secrets and treasures revealed. So please, as I say, like, subscribe, and watch out for my Let's Play series coming up. Thanks very much for watching. Bye bye.